Hello everyone, the Green Scorpion here, and welcome to episode 6 of the Green Scorpion's Q&A. As usual, if you want to ask me any questions, click on the link in the video description and ask your questions right over there. Once again, 15 questions here, ready to answer. Let's get right into it. The first question comes from Emblem F48. What's your favorite Fire Emblem class? That's a good one. Let's see. My favorite Fire Emblem class would probably be the Bishop. Believe it or not, because when I play the Fire Emblem games, I find myself very liking of the magic users. I think they're very awesome. They're very versatile because they can pretty much damage other magic users. They're effective with monsters, which is pretty much in the case of Sacred Stones. And they can pretty much pierce any defenses. The only thing that's negative about them is that their physical defenses are pretty weak, so you have to hide them behind, like, generals or something like that. But, yeah, the magic users, in essence, I really like, especially the Bishop, because of how accurate they can be, and in reality, all of their spells look really cool. So, yeah, I would go with that. A good shout-out to my friend Artur from Sacred Stones. Alright, this next question comes from Lucky DZ. I was wondering how that. Okay. What do you think of Machinima? I love Machinima, actually. They have a lot of funny stuff, and some of their reviews, or like, some of the things that they talk about is really cool. And I love watching Sonic for Hire. I love watching two best friends play. They got some really funny stuff on there, so yeah, I do like Machinima. More than IGN, I will openly admit. Alright, this next question comes from Timothy the Pachirisu. Again, what's your opinion on the newest Mario Party? Mario Party 9. I like it, actually. In fact, I think it is better than Mario Party 8. Mario Party 8, in my opinion, was the weakest of the bunch. Mario Party 9, at first, I didn't really like it because of how different it was, but after playing a few rounds with my friends and getting through the minigames, I grew to like it a lot, because the minigames utilize the Wii's motion controls and the Wii's capabilities with the control a lot better than Mario Party 8 did. The presentation was good, and the boss battle minigames, I thought was genius. And I guess the biggest thing is, while in most other Mario Party games where it's pretty much guaranteed that you know who's going to win, like once you know how many stars they have, this game, not so much. It's actually more of a mystery who is going to win, which I like. I mean, I've already been through a couple of cases where first place won by just 1 star. That's the kind of thing I like. I like competition. In the previous Mario Parties, while they were good, the competition was kind of ruined like early on before the ending, because it's basically just anticlimactic, the whole who's going to win kind of thing, you know what I mean? So yes, I do like Mario Party 9. Alright, this next question comes from Imyour White Mage. What's your favorite Mortal Kombat game? That would be the most recent one, Mortal Kombat 9. I love the fact that they finally went back to the basics, and the tag fighting, the X-ray moves, they went above and beyond with the fatalities in that game. My goodness, they were amazing. Very graphic, obviously, but yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 did an excellent job with what they wanted to do, and they delivered. Beforehand, my favorite Mortal Kombat game was Mortal Kombat Trilogy, mainly because of the nostalgic value as well as how well it played. Mortal Kombat 9 took that spot in as my favorite Mortal Kombat game for probably obvious reasons. It really is a great game. Alright, this next one comes from Dark Draymond 2000. Forgive me if I mispronounce that, but which would you rather have, the portal gun or the gravity gun? Holy crap, that's a good question. The gravity gun, really useful. You can pretty much use anything at your disposal as a projectile, as ammunition, but if I had to choose one, I'd put my money on the portal gun. Because the portal gun is very versatile. It would be a lot of fun to use, and while the portal gun does have limits because it can only, like, create surfaces on moon dust, or moon dust treated surfaces or something like that. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe the gravity gun would be more useful there. Oh man, now I'm conflicted. Okay, you know what? Because of that, I'll okay, if I were able to use it on any surface, I'd go with the portal gun. If not, I'll go with the gravity gun. Alright. The next one comes from the Jazzer94. What's your favorite horror game? I was never a fan of the horror genre personally, so I can't really say. I don't know why, I just can't find myself being able to sit down, put in a horror game, and go ahead and play it. I am very squeamish, I will admit. I never liked horror movies either, so whenever my sister and my mom invites me to go see a horror movie, I'm gonna turn them down. So yeah, horror games pretty much fall into the same category. If I had to choose one, I'd probably choose Resident Evil 4. I mean, that does categorize as a horror game. I was able to get through that one, relatively easily actually. So yeah, Resident Evil 4 I'd go with. I go with my favorite horror game. Alright, this next question comes from Aadvaki. What are some upcoming negative countdowns you have in mind? I have a couple. Nameless Nick and I are planning to do the top 10 worst video game tropes, as I mentioned before. Another one I plan on doing are the top 10 games with the worst voice acting. Like, not how good the games are, but they have horrible voice acting. I'm talking about games with just horrific voice acting. Basically, what's the worst voice acting out there in a video game? And I guess another one I'm planning on doing, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go through with yet, are the top 10 games I will never play. I have a few things in mind with that one, and that's going to be a personal opinion review. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do that one yet, or if I'm going to do it at all. If you guys want me to, then go ahead and motivate me to do it. But right now, the main two negative countdowns I have planned are the top 10 worst video game tropes and the top 10 worst voice acting. So yeah. Alright, this next question comes from TheGamer TronShow. Do you have any phobias? Yes, I do. I was never a fan of heights. And that's one of the reasons why I'll never go on a roller coaster. Also, like, the two reasons I don't go on a roller coaster is because I'm afraid of heights, and I get sick on them very easily. Skyscrapers, I can do skyscrapers, but looking up at them, I'm like, jeez, I can imagine being up there. And I guess another phobia, this is a weirder one. I am afraid of, I'm afraid of department store mannequins. Like, I know that may be a little bit embarrassing, but I just don't like them at all. Because they just stand there, and it feels like the eyes are following you, and, oh, good lord. It's just, I hate them. I really hate, like, clothing shop mannequins, and I can't stand them. I will stay away from them, which is the reason why I never enjoyed going shopping with my mom when I was a kid. Ugh, it's just, ugh. Okay, fear factor over. The next question comes from Girari27. There you go. Are you a fan of Screw Attack? Yes, I am. I am a big fan of Screw Attack. I love their top 10s. I love the Angry Video Game Nerd. I love Death Battle. I love the Gaming Vault. Like, yeah, Screw Attack does some pretty awesome work. In fact, like, maybe one day, if I summon a miracle, I'll be able to go over and work with them. That would be amazing. But I'm pretty sure I have a long ways before I'm able to do that. But we'll see what happens. So yeah. Alright, this next question comes from Heroes of Time. What's your favorite Mythbusters myth? Oh man, that's a good question. There are so many. Let's see. A couple of my favorites would be the water heater myth. Another one would probably be a recent one they did is the dueling myths, where they tested the myths about the knife and never bring a knife to a gunfight, and he who moves first loses. those were really cool myths. If I had to choose my favorite, I'd probably go with the Hwacha myth, where the myth about the ancient Korean weapon that shot 500, I believe it was, 500 rocket-propelled arrows at the same time onto an oncoming army. That was a really cool myth, and I actually did a report on it at school for a final project, and I actually got a perfect score on that project, so I gotta thank the Mythbusters for that one. Alright, this next question comes from Jamie Fadonal. If you were a video game character of the opposite gender, who would you be and why? Odd question. Very odd. I mean, I already answered who I would date from video game lore. I answered Daisy for that one. I don't think I would pick Daisy to be in terms of who I would be in video games. This is a tough question, I gotta admit. Very awkward. If anyone, I'd probably go with Samus in that case, because having a power suit that links to your system and being able to shoot aliens and like that power suit, it looks freaking awesome. I would love to maybe have something like that, though that's never going to happen, obviously. I guess the one negative thing of being Samus would be having to deal with Ridley all the time. But yeah, I've always wondered what it's like to fight a very treacherous monster. But again, awkward question, because I can't imagine myself being a girl. No way. Alright, this next question comes from RBDude98. What's your favorite brand of clothing? Fashion was never my thing. I mean, I always just... My usual outfit is sneakers, jeans, and a t-shirt, or a polo shirt, or a button-down shirt, that kind of thing. I never really had a favorite brand of clothing, really. I mean, fashion... That's more my sister's forte, really. So I don't really think I can answer that question. Sorry. Alright, this next question comes from PGMPSW. If you were a villain in a video game, what would your mastermind plan be? What boss would you have as your main henchman? What type of enemy would your minions be? And who would be your enemy? Detailed question, but very interesting. Okay, if I were a video game villain, my mastermind plan would probably be to take over the world. Of course! Such an overused joke, but I love it. What boss would I have as my minion? That is a tough question. I'd probably go with, okay, if you want, like, oh jeez, this is a tough one. I'd probably go with Dimentio, actually. I mean, I know he was the main villain of, Super Paper Mario, but if I can find my way out of his double cross, then I'd definitely pick Dimentio, because he's a freaking awesome villain. He was close to making the top 10 villains of over Bowser, but I had to go with Bowser for obvious reasons. Okay, what type of enemy would be my minions? These are tough questions, I gotta say. Okay, perhaps the Metroids, because they're really hard to kill. I mean, sending out a huge swarm of Metroids onto the planet, that would be an easy way to take over the world, I gotta say. And, who would be my main enemy? Snake, bring it on. Alright, next question comes from Nkokja5A. What's your favorite and least favorite Zelda dungeon? Alright, well, if I had to choose my favorite Zelda dungeon, well, Skyward Sword had a lot of amazing dungeons. Jeez, these are good questions, I gotta say, guys, I gotta hand it to you. Okay, my favorite Zelda dungeon would probably be... Actually, I would say from Twilight Princess, my favorite dungeon would be the Twilight Realm. Really, really creepy dungeon, but incredibly unique, very well constructed, and, well, you fought Zant there. That was awesome. As for my least favorite Zelda dungeon, the Water Temple, easily. Now, here's the thing, guys. I know a lot of people like the water temple, and don't get me wrong, I do think the water temple is a great concept. But the changing of the water levels, the structure of the temple, the freaking horrible boss fight, but that's aside. Overall, in that dungeon, I hated it because of the navigation complications. It's a pain to navigate that dungeon. Seriously, that's my rip with it. Alright, this last question comes from Smash Bros. 2009. You couldn't use any electronic device for 24 hours, so how would you spend your day? Huh, that's actually pretty easy. I mean, I'm not totally dependent on technology. I mean, I'll go out, play some soccer or ultimate frisbee with friends. I'll go over to my other friend's house and maybe play improv games, something like Whose Line Is It Anyway or something like that. Love that show, by the way. And, you know, just do things like that, really. It's not really that difficult to come up with stuff to do when you have no technology. I've done it before. In fact, I've done it before for a week. And, albeit that was at a camp, but it was easy. So, yeah, I mean, basically just go out, maybe get a workout or something like that, play some sports, some board games. I don't really need technology to have fun. Alright, so that does it for this episode. Now, if you guys want to ask me any questions, as usual, click the link in the video description and ask your questions there. I'll be here next time with 15 more questions, as usual. See you guys then!